Hey guys, and welcome to my ultimate in-depth farming guide. In this guide, I'll be going over every aspect of farming, from how you can begin farming if you've never trained it before, useful tips to help you improve and optimize how you train, and the best routes for each type of farm run. I've tried to make this as thorough and comprehensive as possible, so you can make your own decisions for how you want to go ahead and train farming yourself, whether that's gain efficient experience, make money, or pet hunting. I'd recommend watching through the whole video to get the best idea of everything farming entails, but I understand some of you might be here for a particular segment, so I have put timestamps of each section labeled in the description so you can peruse around the guide as you please. I want to start off by showing you a list of these easy quests you can do to get you through the first levels of farming. The one I would recommend doing the most is Fairy Tale Part 1, because it'll bring you instantly from 1 to 17 farming and reward you with the magic secutars. The rest of these quests will help you get to the low levels so you can begin planting high level crops without having to do any actual farming. But if you just really don't want to do any questing, you can either plant low-level aliment and flower seeds such as potatoes, or plant and destroy bag plants in your player-owned house for farming experience. Now here are some more important quests that will unlock a few different things. Lunar Diplomacy and Dream Mentor will unlock the Lunar Spellbook, which has a variety of useful spells, and I'll go into what those do in a little bit. And Tree Gnome Village will unlock you the Spirit Tree Teleport System. Priest in Peril unlocks you the Mauritania Farm Patch and the Mushroom Patch. Ghost Ahoy will give you the Ectophile Teleport, which is a close teleport to the Mauritania Farm Patch. Starting Morning's End Part 1 will unlock you the Letya Fruit Tree and provide you with Teleport Crystals, which is a close teleport to there. And My Arm's Big Adventure will give you a disease-free herb patch on top of the Troll Stronghold. The Achievement Diaries can also play an important role in farming. The Felidar Medium will give you a 10% experience boost at the Felly Farm, and the tree inside of Felidar with the Elite Diary will now be disease-free. The Mauritania Elite Diary will unlock the Harmony Herb Patch. As you move up in the Kandarin Diary, your yield of crop at the Catherby Patch will increase. As you move up in the Arty Diary, you unlock a bunch of useful teleports. As you move up in the Lumbridge Diary, the ring will restore your energy at different degrees, and you will also unlock the Cabbage Teleport, which is a close teleport to the Felly Farm. The Western Hard will allow you to charge your teleport crystals with up to 5 charges. With the Fremenic Hard and 73 Agility, there is a Troll Stronghold shortcut to the top where the Herb Patch is. With 60% Arceuus favor, you unlock the Arceuus Spellbook, which I will talk about in the next slide. And with 50% Hosidius favor, there is a disease-free Karen Farm Patch on Zaya. Let's take a look at the Lunar and Arceuus Spellbook, which are going to be two of the best assets you can use while training farming. Alright, let's look at the Lunar Spellbook first, starting off with Geomancy at 65 magic. This spell allows you to check the growth stages of all your crops, and the great thing about this is you don't have to be at a farming patch to cast it. You can be anywhere, including a bank. I pretty much use this spell every single time I log in, and periodically throughout the day to see if I need to do a farm run. This leads into Cure Plant at 66 magic, so if you happen to see a plant that is diseased, you can use this spell to cure it, and it'll continue growing. Fertile Soil at 83 magic acts as Super Compost, and this will save you a lot of inventory space during a farm run, and Super Compost itself will give you a greater chance for your crops not to become diseased, and also higher yield from crops that can be harvested. Spellbook Swap requires 96 magic, and the completion of Dream Mentor. This will allow you to swap to the Arceuus Spellbook. The one spell on the Arceuus Spellbook you'll be using is Resurrect Crops at a minimum magic requirement of 78. At 78 magic, there is a 50% chance, scaling up to a 75% chance at 99 magic, to bring a dead crop back to life and continue growing. So for example, if you have a magic tree that is dead, you can use this spell, and if it is successful, it will save you time because you won't have to replant a new one, and also it'll save you money on high-cost seeds and saplings. Also, all spellbooks will have a couple of useful teleports to get from place to place faster. Here are some useful items and gear that can aid you with farming. The Mud Battle Staff will provide you with unlimited water and earth runes. A rune pouch, which costs 1.2 million BH points in the BH store, holds up to 16,000 of 3 different types of runes. If you're wearing a full Graceful set, it'll reduce your weight by 25 kilograms, and also restore your run 30% faster whenever you are walking or standing still. For those who have the 99 Farming Cape, it'll give you a 5% harvest increase, which is useful for herb runs. The Farmer's Outfit from the Tith minigame on Zaya gives you a 2% experience boost. It is not worth the time to actually get this set for even 200 mil farming experience, but it is still a nice set to have, so I will leave a Tith minigame guide in the description. Slayer rings, which require 300 Slayer points to unlock and also 75 crafting to make, will give you a teleport to the Tree Gnome Stronghold, which is close to a few tree patches. Redirection scrolls from the Nightmare Zone minigame can be used on house tabs, or you can use the 99 Construction Cape perk to teleport to the Taverley, Breamhaven, and also Rimington house locations. These are close to 2 different tree patches and a bush patch. The Ardy Cloak and Explorer's Ring from the Ardy and Lumbridge Diary teleport you to the Ardy Farm patch, the Kandarin Monastery near a bush patch, and the Cabbage Port near the Felly Farm. The Xerox Talisman is a 1 in 250 drop rate from Lizardman, which requires 5% Shades in Favor to kill. This gives you a close teleport to the Karen farming patch. And the Chronicle Book, which you can buy from Diango very cheaply in Draenor Village, gives you a teleport to the Champions Guild, which is close to another bush patch. So now I want to share some useful tips and answer some frequently asked questions about farming. The first thing I want to show you is the real-time farm tick clock. It provides you with the time of the next growth tick, which is when a crop decides if it will either grow another stage, become diseased, or die if it is already diseased. There's also the total growth time for each crop and the amount of time between each tick. For example, a fruit tree takes 16 hours in total to grow. It has 6 total growth windows, and it takes 160 minutes for each growth window to occur. This clock is very useful because it allows you to check when the next ticks are going to happen before logging in or out. So the rule you want to follow is to make sure to never log in or out 5 minutes before or after a tick has happened. Otherwise, you risk your crop missing a growth stage. I check this crop every time before I log in because the last thing you want to do is log in during a fruit tree or say a spirit tree tick and cost yourself hours when you could have just waited a few extra minutes before logging in. So for example, right now, you can see that there's 30 minutes and 50 seconds until the next tree tick, and it takes 40 minutes for an actual tick to happen, so it is safe to log in right now. Let's say this was at 39 minutes, you would want to wait another 4 minutes until it is 35 minutes, exactly 5 minutes after the window interval, and then it'll be safe to log in. However, Modash himself has come out and said how messy the coding for farming is, so this is not a 100% foolproof way of making sure you never miss any growth stages, but it is the surest way of making sure you miss the least amount of growth stages when logging in or out and losing the least amount of time. One of the best overall tips I can give you is to have a well-organized and laid out bank. This allows you to fluently move between different activities, so if I need to do a herb run, I already know where everything is. I can just grab all the items out of my bank. It's kind of imprinted on your mind after a while when you have a well-organized bank. I have found that if you actually go and put in the time to organize your bank and lay it out very nicely, that first of all, I think it is very visually appealing, and it'll give you kind of a sense of direction of where all your items are, and it'll save you time when you are in a bank between different activities. The 3 most commonly asked questions I see is, should you protect your crops? Is it actually worth the cost to use resurrect crops? And what is the current highest profit herb to do? For it to actually be worth your money to protect your crop or tree, the cost of the protection has to be 1/33 or less of the price of the seed to be cost effective. This takes into account how frequently a crop will die, and when it dies, how frequently resurrect crop will bring it back to life and continue growing. To see the cost effectiveness of resurrect crops and when it's worth using is you take the price of the spellbook swap runes, add it to the price of the resurrect crop runes, and times that by 1.33. This is because resurrect crops will not always bring your crop back to life, but at 99 magic, this is based off of a 75% chance. This is just the straight math to answer these questions and is a good guideline, but doesn't have to be followed down to the nail. Because, for example, I will personally protect my papaya trees with pineapples, even though it's not quote-unquote cost-effective. That is just because pineapples are so negligible in cost, it's not even really worth mentioning. And the same goes for resurrect crops. I will bring back a dead cactus, even though it's not quote-unquote cost-effective, just because it gives such a good pet chance and takes a while to grow. So it's going to be kind of a judgment call on your part. You can kind of use this or these equations to guide you in making that decision, but it's really going to come down to how much you value your own personal money and time. Since the best herb for profit changes from time to time, there is a very simple equation you can use to figure this out. you just take the price of the seed minus 7 times the herb price. That is including using the magic secutars and all of the useful diaries to get that 7 herbs per patch on average. For simplicity purposes, I just use torso seeds, and sometimes it can be Runar or Snapdragon, but if you want to be very critical, just use that equation and it'll tell you what to use. A few more useful tips is to have an extra set of tools at a tool leprechaun and to be aware of the location of the tool leprechaun. This will be most important during a herb run to shave down on time during the run. Whenever you find yourself in Varrock, say for a tree run, you can go to Zaf's staff shop and pick up your daily battle staffs from the Varrock diary reward. Having completed the elite diary, picking up 120 battle staffs a day will actually pay for your membership if you use bonds. And lastly, here are the pet drop rates from each crop. I had to correct the hop drop rate because Mod Kieran messed up when he originally posted this, but everything else should be accurate. Alright, let's actually move on to the different demonstrations for each type of farm run. I will be starting with the tree run, which you'll be doing if you want efficient farming experience, and is also really good if you are pet hunting. On screen right now, I just have the different patches and their locations, and they are listed in chronological order that I will be visiting them. You'll want to be planting the highest level tree you can for each patch, and you can easily view the different level requirements for each type of tree by clicking on the farming skill in your skills tab. Let's start off by taking a look at the inventory. You'll be needing 5 fruit tree saplings, 5 regular tree saplings, 1 calquat sapling, 1 Thai Bowani teleport, payment if you're going to choose to use it, which is pineapples in this case, a spade, a construction cape or Breamhaven and Taverley teleport tablets, Lumbridge teleport tablet, Varrock teleport tablet, Ring of Wealth, Ring of Slayer, Elf crystal teleport, and the achievement diary cape isn't needed, but it just helps you get to a patch faster, and then 2200 coins to pay to clear all of the patches. You'll also want to bring Cosmic, Soul, and Blood runes in your inventory for Spellbook swap and resurrect crops. And then inside of your rune pouch, you'll want to bring Nature, Astral, and Law runes for fertile soil and to teleport around. You'll want to bring all these runes on every type of farm run that you do. For the gear, you're going to want to be wearing a full set of Graceful, a Mud Battle Staff, the Explorer's Ring if you want to restore your energy, and then the Amulet doesn't actually matter what you bring. You're going to start the run off by clicking on your Thai Bowani teleport and then running north towards the Calquat tree patch. And what you're going to be doing for every single tree patch is checking the health and then paying the farmer. You'll see right here, check the health, pay the farmer to clear it, plant a sapling, and then either super compost it or use payment if you choose to do so. So just get that in your head to check the health, pay the farmer to clear it, plant a sapling, and then either use super compost or use payment if you choose to do so. This will save you a lot of time either having to chop down the tree and then clear it yourself, or pick the fruit off of a fruit tree and then clearing it. And don't really bother with actually picking the fruit off of a fruit tree. You might as well just save the time. So yeah, I'm just going to speed up the clip now and you guys can watch the full run. Next, let's move on to the herb run, which is the money-making aspect of farming while providing a decent amount of experience. And you'll notice all of the patches except the Troll Stronghold and Harmony Island patch have an allotment. So if you want to, you can plant watermelons and limp roots, which provide additional experience. But for this demonstration, I'll just be planting the herb. In the inventory, you'll want to have a pair of magic secutars, an ectophile, a spade, a seed dipper, 7 herb seeds, an Arty cloak or an Arty teleport tab, a Trollheim tab, stamina potion if you choose to use it, and then the same runes as before, Cosmic, Soul, Blood, and then Nature, Astral, and Law in your rune pouch. For the gear, it's almost exactly the same as a tree run. We want a full set of Graceful, a Mud Battle Staff, a Xerox Talisman, an Explorer's Ring, and if you have it, you can use the 99 Farming Cape, but if you don't, then you can just use a Graceful Cape. I start the run off by taking a sip of stamina, banking the extra doses, and teleporting to Trollheim. This will immediately open up 2 inventory slots. And while I'm running here, I want to say I tried to base this route around where the tool leprechauns are to optimize how much time you spend on each farm run, or minimize it rather. And this is because when you go to note things at a leprechaun, you don't want to be wasting the extra time running around a fence or something. And think of it kind of like a rune crafting run. If you're crafting nature runes, you want to do the least amount of time on the run, so you're making the most amount of money in that time. So the first thing I want to show you here as we approach the patch is what you want to do is spam click it immediately, and you'll see right here as you're spam clicking it, your character will kind of do this juking motion right there, and then every tick, instead of just collecting 1 herb, you'll collect 2 herbs. So every time you come to a patch, just immediately spam click it. Other than that, there's one other thing I want to note is I use Spellbook Swap and then the Harmony Teleport to get to Harmony Island. You can also just bring a Harmony Teleport tab. You can just buy that off the GE. So, yep, I think that's all I wanted to say, and I'll just let the demo roll. The third and final run we'll be looking at is the miscellaneous run. This is for all the pet hunters out there. The 3 main crops I'm going to be looking at are the cactus, mushroom, and belladonna. These all have very good pet drop rates, and if you want to be giving yourself the best chance to get Tangleroot as soon as possible, highly recommend doing those 3. I also incorporate the bush patches into my miscellaneous run, because I know there are Iron Men out there that need poison ivy berries for herblore training, and even for normal accounts it does provide a respectable pet drop rate, and can also tack on a little bit of profit to the run. In the inventory you'll want to have an Arty Cloak. Even an Arty Cloak 1 will do, because you're just teleporting to the monastery. You also need a spade, a seed dipper, 4 poison ivy seeds, a mushroom spore, a belladonna seed, a cactus seed. If you have a spirit tree in your house and also on miscellanea, you can bring a house tab, but if not, then just bring a ring of wealth, a Remington tab, a ring of dueling, and then as before, you also need cosmic, soul, and blood runes, and then in your rune pouch, astral, law, and nature runes. The gear setup is pretty similar to before. You'll need a full graceful set, a mud battle staff, a chronicle book or a comet bracelet to get you to the Champions Guild, an explorer's ring to restore your run energy, and for the amulet, it doesn't actually matter what you wear. I begin this run by using my ring to teleport to the duel arena, to go to the cactus patch first. You'll notice there's no coins in my inventory because you cannot pay the farmers to clear any of these crops. You'll have to manually check the health and then pick the produce off of it and then clear it, and then you can plant the seed. So I always start with the cactus first, and then I move to the mushroom next, and this will create it so that if you do choose to do poison ivy berries, the inventory will be exactly perfect so that everything fits inside of it without having to waste time noting stuff at a tool leprechaun. So then I go to the mushroom patch by using Spellbook swap and then teleporting to the south graveyard, and I have to pick these mushrooms. You can't do the same thing as the herb. You can't just spam click. You have to wait for it to manually do it itself or automatically do it itself. And then I plant this, and then I go and do the 4 bushes. So I'm going to speed it up really quickly, go through the 4 bushes, and then I'll meet you back at the belladonna plant. Alright, after the 4 bushes, or if you skip from the mushroom, you want to spellbook swap and then use the Draenor teleport. That is going to be the closest teleport to the belladonna patch. And it's important to note, if for some reason you're not wearing graceful gloves, you do need some type of glove, otherwise you can't pick the belladonna plant. And I wanted to slow down this clip to show you how to use Resurrect Crops. So you just spellbook swap to Arceuus, use Resurrect Crops, and then it has the chance to bring it back to life. And that's pretty much it for the miscellaneous run. Well, that's going to wrap things up for my farming guide. I tried to cover everything I could think about that has to do with farming, and this is the first guide that I've ever made, so hopefully you found some useful information in there, even if it's just 1 or 2 things that maybe you never knew before. And if it earned it, maybe consider leaving a like and subscribing for future content. And if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. Also, any feedback is more than welcome in the comments. And I'm going to leave you with a clip of me eating the kangaroo pet, and I will see you guys in the next video.